welcome to TSBS's training for occupational and physical therapy. In this training, we will explore the requirements for documentation of therapy sessions and evaluations for occupational and physical therapy as they relate to SHARS billing. For a district to receive OT or PT reimbursements through SHARS, a licensed physician must complete a prescription for the student receiving the services. A prescription is required every 3 years unless it expires, the time or treatment changes, or the district requires it to be completed on an annual basis. The change in the IEP means that there is a change in the plan of care for these services. This, in turn, would mean that an evaluation or reevaluation has been done for the student. If a reevaluation results in a change to the goals and objectives, but not a change in frequency and duration, a new prescription is not required. However, if the frequency and/or duration of OT service changes, a new prescription is required. The name and NPI of the referring licensed physician, physician's assistant, or advanced practice registered nurse must be listed on the claim and kept in the medical record. The process was implemented on November 1st, 2021, with the grace period lasting 1 calendar year after. This NPI can normally be found on the written prescription itself. OTs and PTs do not need to obtain an NPI. Now let's discuss the required licensure or credential requirements a practitioner must hold to bill for OT and PT services. The providers who can bill for SHARS reimbursement for OT and PT services are OTs and PTs. CODAs and LPTAs can also bill, but those positions require supervision. This is a Texas board requirement and not a Medicaid requirement. Following the requirements of the OT-PT boards will meet SHARS requirements for supervision. Next, OT and PT services can be billed either in an individual or group session. It is important to remember that when submitting your SHARS claims, the type of therapy service you are entering must match the type of service that is prescribed in the ARD. Individual and group sessions may be delivered virtually. Please note, virtual services are subject to change. Time billed for SHARS must be direct therapy time only. Additionally, a therapist can bill for time spent assisting the student with learning or training to use adaptive equipment or assistive technology, as well as fitting the student with such devices. Time spent without the student present, such as training teachers or aides, report writing, or time spent on manipulating or modifying the adaptive equipment is not billable. In addition, session notes are required for documentation purposes. Session notes must include billable start time, stop time, total billable minutes, activity being performed during the session, student observations, and the related IEP goal and objective. It is recommended that all this information, including session notes, is recorded in your SHARS ticket. Doing this will allow you to report all necessary documentation in a single form, and it will ensure your state and federal audit requirements. In the event you handwrite session notes prior to entering them into your online billing system, TEA requires the handwritten session notes be kept on file for 7 years. If you only enter session notes in the SHARS billing ticket, you do not have to keep separate handwritten notes for audit purposes. Evaluation time for both initial testing and reevaluations are billable for OT and PT services, as long as it is provided by a fully licensed therapist. For OT and PT evaluations, the procedure code submitted must reflect the type of evaluation being performed. The complexity level, low, moderate, or high, must be specified. The therapist who performs the evaluation should use professional clinical judgment to decide the evaluation code to use. Session notes are not required for evaluations. However, the following documentation is required: billable start time, stop time, total billable minutes, with a notation of the activity performed. If an evaluation is performed over several days, the provider must submit the same evaluation procedure code for each evaluation session. OT, PT, or speech therapy services that are prescribed in the student's IEP may be reimbursed as co-treatment. Providers should document in the session notes the reason for co-treatment. Multidisciplinary team evaluations performed collaboratively with any combination of PT, OT, or speech therapy and psychology may be billed by each provider when performed during overlapping time periods. Thank you for watching this training. We appreciate your assistance in your school district's continued success in the SHARS program.